Hey guys, Jay Powell from Test This Tech, and I want to do a quick video here, starting off the Monday, regarding to the RG476H and also the Rg557. How I still think it's a good value and a great handheld still to get, even with all of these announcements that have come out. So to put a little bit into perspective, and for some couple videos that I've done previously, I've been pretty much toying with experimenting with my smartphones as far as for retro handheld gaming, if you will, different controllers. And I have the Snapdragon 888 on the S21 FE, which I did a video on. More powerful than the Rg557 Pocket 5 Flip 2. But also what I realized is that my phone that I use on a daily basis, the same phone I'm using to record this video, is the S24 Plus, and that has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is crazy because that is more powerful than the Odin 2, the Odin 2 Portal. And one can make the argument as far as maybe there's more RAM and like the highest here, the Odin Portal 2 Max, where the case may be. But as far as for the chipset that has, the GPU and all that stuff, more powerful, which is interesting. So how we get to the 557, right, is when it comes to the 476H, it seemed like it was birthed because people were having a request or in the internet comments of such regarding to having a plastic version of the RG477M, which is the all metal version. I wouldn't say version, but just an all metal handheld. You have the analog sticks on the bottom, directional button, on the top. Great for platforming, especially for the screen as well. You have a 4.7 inch screen with the 120 hertz. And now we have this 476H, which at this point we know pretty much everything about it. We know that it's going to be about 175, I want to say 179 probably on Amazon. Once it lands on Amazon, I have no idea how much it's going to be. I'm also curious to see how cheap the 406, the RG46H will be in the V, but topic for another day, I guess. But so for this one, we now have a plastic version of the 477M with the old chipset, right? So the 557 is interesting because it has the Dimensity 8300, which is also obviously in the RG477M. Very powerful chip. And what I've been struggling with when it comes to what device should I get, yada, yada, is that it was hard for me to justify getting an Odin 2 because I have a phone that's more powerful or has a more powerful chipset. But I don't want to be using my main phone to be doing a whole lot of gaming to drain my battery already that I do. So for the 557, I still feel that it is still a really good price. On Amazon, I believe it's been $299, and it does a lot. Now, one of the big things a lot of people are weary about getting it is for the Switch emulation because of the chipset and the driver support mainly. However, there's been a lot of videos on the power of this device, and even though it's a 2-year-old chip, 2 to 3-year-old chip, there's still a lot of power that still hasn't been, not a lot of software has exposed that power, and a majority of that is the driver support. But there's been a lot of really great videos from different channels like Retro Tech Dad, shout out to him, showing these videos on how it plays PlayStation 3 really well with the RPCSX, and then there's a recent video. It was with the RG477M regarding to some Switch that it was doing well, that it was doing very well. So, and obviously the 557 has the same chipset, the Dimensity 8300. So at this point, if you wanted to get a device that plays PlayStation 1, 2, and 3, and some Switch, you have a device that you can get that's within the myriad of all these devices at a fair price. I think $299 is a very fair price for that type of emulation. And that's not even to speak on the streaming capability. Now, not a whole lot of videos have talked about the streaming capability of the RG557, which I am probably going to experiment with. I don't have the best of streaming setup, so doing a video on it, I don't know if it makes sense because I'm testing it from a poor setup as far as for streaming, but I'm going to be checking that out. But the reason for me doing this video is that I did order the 557 just because of this logic, this thought process. I found myself wanting to dig into PlayStation 3 for those titles because I owned a PlayStation 3. I worked at GameStop a while ago. You know, I purchased the PlayStation 3, you know, the big one, the smaller one, you know, whatnot. A lot of great games on there. Some I even forgot about. But obviously when it comes to preservation, having a device that, you know, that you can play those games on, a little difficult, right? Obviously the T820 is not powerful enough to run PlayStation 3. The HN2 can run some. The Snapdragon HN3 can, but I don't know if it can run as much as the 477M or the 557 because I think there's something interesting with the chipset for the Dimensity 8300, which I think it's a little more friendly with PlayStation 3. I could be completely wrong in that. But Retro Tech Daddy, he tested like 100 games, PlayStation 3 games on it, which is wild. So that's why I decided to get it. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think the RG557 is still a good value to get? Are you planning on getting the RG476H? I'm probably going to get one at this point since I've been yapping about it for the past couple of videos. Anyway, Test This Tech. Catch you guys next video.